In headlines, Prime Minister Mark Phillips outlines plans for the energy sector. City Hall loses 78% revenue due to COVID-19.
Our revenue drop here about 78%.
Valda, Mingo and Joseph electoral fraud case further put off to December 21st. And in sport, Guyana gearing for a full complement of athletes at Carifta Games 2022 and the National Stadium to be reopened for public recreational use from November 2nd. With the news, I'm Kurt Campbell. Thank you for joining us. First up, Prime Minister Mark Phillips has outlined plans for the energy sector, including the Gas to Shore project. The Prime Minister issued the following video statement.
GPL is a burning issue for all Guyanese, including myself. We all grew up, we all suffered from blackouts. And if there's one thing I want to tell you, and I want to promise you, is that this PVPC government, the government that was sworn in on the 2nd of August, from day one, we start working towards ending blackout in Guyana and returning the country to reliable electricity. In terms of the immediate measures, as I announced after visiting GPL, we want to buy power that is available locally to supplement what is produced by GPL. That in the shortest term will help us to have reserve power to minimize blackout. We're in the process of doing that. There's one contractor that we almost finished connecting to the grid, and I know that we're looking at other means of increasing the power available to GPL between now and Christmas. In the short term, over the next 2 to 4 years, what we intend to do is to bring the gas to shore. We want to have a facility that between now and 2024, or before 2024, have the facility that can produce 200 megawatts of power. Because we believe that if we can produce 200 megawatts of power from the gas to shore project, that along with what we have available through GPL will satisfy not only the domestic but the commercial and industrial needs of Guyana. We have to look at off-the-grid supply of electricity, because what we've been talking about is really the Demerara-Berbice interconnected system, where we have GPL supplying power and the projects that I outlined, the gas to shore. But then we have to look at the off-the-grid demands for electricity, in the hinterland, in the other towns and villages. And as part of the energy mix, we're also pursuing solar energy, wind energy, and hydro power, energy from hydropower. So Amelia Falls is back with us as a project in the medium to long term. Of course, we have to go through the whole cycle of looking back at the studies and trying to garner funding for that project. So that will take some time, maybe 6 to 10 years before you have Amelia Falls. However, at present, we have solar farms, and a number of those solar farms will come on stream. For example, Mabaruma, in a matter of months, Mabaruma will come on stream. We have mini hydros that we plan for different parts of the interior. You've probably heard about Kumu, right? Kumu Falls in Region 9, right? There's a lot of exploratory work being done in those areas. We have K2. The project has started at K2 already. See, within the next 5 years too, we'll have a lot of power being produced in Guyana, especially off the grid in the hinterland and a smaller towns area through renewal.
Meanwhile, President Irfan Ali this week said the Gas to Shore Project Advisory Committee, led by former head of the National Industrial Commercial Investment Limited, NISIL, Winston Brassington, is currently doing the groundwork for the Gas to Shore project. He said the government will be working along with all stakeholders to see that the project materializes by 2023.
We have 2 advisory committees working now, one on local content and the other one on the the Gas to Shore project. What I know is that on the Gas to Shore project, we have Mr. Brassington on that committee also on the Gas to Shore contract. It's not a task force that is entrenched in a structure. It is an advisory committee setting. And they are right now doing the groundwork in terms of getting the information, because before we move to strong negotiations, and so we have to get the information, we have to get everything together. And that is what we're doing now.
Will you guys be working along with Exxon on this?
Well, Exxon is a stakeholder. So part of it, we'll have to speak to the stakeholder. Of course, you have to speak to all the stakeholders. But our intention, let me make it very clear. I've said this publicly. My hope and the work that we want to get done is to ensure that at least by the end of 2023, we can have the Gas to Shore project up and running, and we can have natural gas powered energy so that our energy costs can come down.
We tell you now that a 23-year-old man of Quibana Village, Maruka Sub-District, will soon face charges after he chopped his cousin to death earlier this week. Family members believe the now imprisoned Samuel Henry suffered a nervous breakdown after learning of the death of his father, Michael Henry, a retired head teacher and former priest of the Anglican Church who had tested positive for COVID-19. Days of aggressive, hostile and irrational behavior took a turn for the worse on Monday last when Henry was arrested after he attacked his 35-year-old cousin, Kamal Wilson. The newsroom spoke to Henry's mother, Maureen Henry, by phone on Wednesday. She explained that after the death of her husband, she was placed in isolation away from home where her 5 children remained under the supervision of a 28-year-old female sibling. She said while in isolation, she received reports that 2 of the boys who were left traumatized by the death of their father had suffered a nervous breakdown. Henry said she was told that her sons came beside themselves. The newsroom also spoke to the now dead Wilson's mother, Lauren Wilson, who explained that the unexpected attack on her son was done while he was boiling casserole. She said her son was very quiet and helpful, but at the time she empathized with the Henry, who remains in custody. She said with their father dead and their mother in isolation, no one was there to comfort them. The family wants Henry's mental state to be considered as the police decide on what charges will be laid against him. More news after the break. Stay with us. Watching the newsroom. Several cyclists were stopped Wednesday morning by the police in Region 3 as they attempted to cross the Demerara Harbour Bridge, many of them on their way to work. Leading the operation to clamp down an errant motorcyclist was Regional Commander Senior Superintendent Errol Watts. Speaking to the newsroom by phone, Watts said the motorcyclists were arrested and would face charges for several traffic violations. He said while some of the persons arrested had breached the one-way, which the road is converted to from 7 to 8 in the mornings, several others were found to be riding without the necessary documentation. The persons who were arrested will be charged for breach of a one-way street on Friday, Watts said, a charge that attracts a fine of $25,000. City Mayor Yubraj Narayan on Wednesday said the council lost 78% of its revenue during the COVID-19 pandemic and is currently struggling to pay staff. The mayor at a press conference explained that the city council's monthly expense to pay staff is $120 million. The government recently gave $2 million to each municipality to offset the payment of staff, but Narayan said that is just a drop in the ocean and cannot even pay for the detergents used by City Hall to sanitize various areas of Georgetown.
Our revenue drop here about 78%. We're actually struggling to pay staff. Our salary and wages scale is 120 million a month, closer to that. Right? We owe NIS over 400 million. That is since in 1993. I was 3 years old. I am dealing with that issue now. GPL matter that the Minister of Public Works spoke of, we finished the assessment. It seemed that GPL might have to pay us too, because when we do correspondence and so on with the properties and the taxes. So we're looking at all of that. COVID-19 has carried impact on this council, tremendous impact. That some things we cannot do. The plan that we had for this year as mayor and councillors, we couldn't execute it. I know the Prime Minister recently issued a press release on that, about hampers in the city, because I visited areas where people don't have work, they're not working, they're being laid off. And then you're human, you have to think about these people. This thing's not about politics. This is about PPP and P and C and A, F, C and who C and who F and P. This thing here about people, how we deal with people life, daily life, who are suffering not to have food on the table.
The case premised an electoral fraud against Chairman of the People's National Congress Reform, Walter Lawrence, along with embattled Region 4 returning officer Clement Mingo and APNU AFC member Carl Joseph, has been put off once again. The trio will return to the Magistrates Court on December 21st, 2020, following the adjournment of their case on Wednesday. The lawyers representing Mingo, Lawrence and Joseph continue to resist the inclusion of Shanjit Datadin as part of a special 6-member team hired by the DPP to prosecute the case.
So after we've had sight of the fiat, which we requested in court, then is when we observed that Mr. Datadin is listed as the first prosecuting attorney. And you would recall that we've raised concerns in the Lowenfield and Roxanne Myers matters last week, or probably last week or just a week before, as to the propriety of Mr. Datadin prosecuting Mr. Datadin being a member of the government, a government parliamentary member, and we perceive that that is going to be a conflict of interest and one that would present an appearance of bias. We returned to court on the 21st of December. And another point of note is that the prosecutor did indicate to the court this morning that they were not quite ready to progress these matters as they've not completed their investigations. They don't have all of the statements that they intend to rely on.
Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa visited Buxton East Coast Demerara on Tuesday, offering his ministry's support to address a number of issues affecting the livelihood of farmers in the area. The farmers are expected to benefit in short time from improved drainage and irrigation channels and a number of agricultural projects. Details in this report. Farmers who cultivate lands about Buxton East Coast Demerara will soon see relief from the lack of proper drainage and irrigation due to clogged canals and drains. Denied of these services for some time, the farmers on Tuesday told Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa of their setbacks due to a lack of maintenance of waterways. Chairman of the Farmers Group, Leroy Hammer, lobbied the minister to ensure that waterways are maintained as he lamented the need for proper irrigation to guard against flooding.
The issue that we have is concerning the waterway, that we are not getting the cooperation in terms of the maintenance of the waterway. The water level is very low and the cost tremendous to the farm, and there's other issue that might need to raise it this afternoon. They might get other farmers that have other issues concerning agriculture.
Mr. Mustafa informed the gathering that the machine will be sent to the village to commence works on the canal in a matter of days.
Need a machine permanently until all those canals are completed, so that you will have that machine. Right, Mr. Flats? So the NDIA will ensure that they leave that machine here. I also want the group to help us to monitor the machine. The group must help us to monitor because we have to work with a partnership. We can't only work one way. So the NDIA, the community group, the farmers group, you have a number of officers within that group. I want you all to work with us to help you to ensure that we get the area developed.
Minister Mustafa also said that other small drainage projects will be done and those works will be given to the members of the community. A number of persons expressed their interest in getting into farming but sought the assistance of the minister with providing basic farming tools such as power saws, grass cutters and cutlasses. Minister Mustafa also distributed a number of seeds to farmers as part of the Recommence Seed Distribution Initiative. Residents also raised issues about the need for proper roads to access their farms. Minister Mustafa informed the residents that given the fact that government is operating with an emergency budget, it would not be able to carry out all the major works needed in the community this year. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom. When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sport. Welcome back to the newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We start things off with some athletics news. Though there is still uncertainty in how the team for the 2021 Carifta Track and Field Championships will be selected, the Athletics Association of Guyana is still planning ahead. The hope is when they host the championships in 2022, Guyana can field the maximum team of 60 athletes to be a fully competitive force at home. Akim Green reports.
Now, the fortnight edition of the Carifta Games will be held in Bermuda, the same country which was scheduled to host the Marquee Youth Track and Field Meet during the Easter weekend this year before the pandemic struck. Guyana continued its battle with the virus and is left to be seen when sport can fully resume. Despite no definitive plans on how the 2021 team will be selected as yet, AAG President Aubrey Hudson has eyes on a more distant future to ensure Guyana can field their best and strongest possible team when they host the 50th edition.
It's our intention to go with a maximum number of athletes and have at least 2 athletes in every event coming up. We know some athletes may do multiple events based on their qualifications. You may have an athlete doing the 100 and the 200 meters, and some athletes probably doing the 200 and the 400 or 850. But it's our intention to put 2 athletes into every event and to be, a real competitive force.
Based on numbers from 1990, Jamaica's totally dominated the event by having an overall medal haul triple the amount of the closest challenger, Trinidad and Tobago, and 4 times the amount of gold medals than any other country. In 2017, Compton Caesar raced into history and he became the first male athlete from Guyana to win a Carifta Games under 20 boys 100-meter gold medal, which broke the usual sprint dominance by the Jamaicans.
We know Jamaica has had a long history of winning these championships because of the quality and number of athletes that they walk with. But it's our intention with the work that we've been doing locally to really and truly give them a challenge. So we're looking at getting 60 athletes out there for the competition.
In 2019, 21 athletes, a record number, attended the championships for Guyana, also produced a record of 10 medals, 4 gold, 2 silver, and 4 bronze, which placed them 4th on the overall standings. Jamaica 85 medals, the Bahamas 26 medals, Trinidad and Tobago 24 medals were the top performers. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
And that's it for me, Kurt Campbell. Join Avinash Ramzan with the remainder of sport.
The Guyana National Stadium at Providence would be opened for public recreational use from Monday, November 2, 2020, according to the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Charles Ramson Jr. In a statement on Wednesday, the minister said the outer pathway and parking lot of the stadium will be opened every day to the public for recreational and exercising purposes from 5 hours to 18 hours 30. Minister Ramson said the government of Guyana appreciates that the residents of East Bank Demerara and Southwest Georgetown area require access to a public facility to exercise and play recreational sport in an environment which is both safe and within proximity. He added that the government of Guyana also appreciates that physical activity and exercise can be an important avenue for maintaining mental health, supporting health care, and encouraging family activities, especially as the country continues to navigate the vicissitudes of the coronavirus pandemic. We tell you now that the Guyana Amateur Basketball Federation, the GABF, has announced that its 2020 annual general meeting will be held virtually on the Zoom platform on December 13. In a letter to sub-associations and affiliates, General Secretary Patrick Haynes said the AGM will commence at 18 hours. Following the GABF Executive Board meeting held on October 22, the 2020 AGM aims to keep the sub-associations and affiliates informed on the progress that the Federation is making on its objectives and to provide information and useful knowledge on the essential strategies. Among the major issues on the agenda are discussion on the GABF strategy, reports from the President and Treasurer, the Development Report, the Marketing Report, the Compliance Report, the Adelante Women's Forum Update, FIBA updates, and the 2021 events calendar. Each sub-association and affiliate is limited to 2 delegates and must register to attend. Observers may register but must consult and channel their remarks via their first delegate. All delegates must register with an individual email address via the GABF online registration website no later than December 5, 2020. Cricket news now. Members of the West Indies team based in the Caribbean departed from Barbados on Tuesday evening for the tour of New Zealand. All the squad members have completed COVID-19 tests and were all given a clean bill of health to travel. On arrival in New Zealand, the squad will be based in Christchurch, where they will quarantine before commencing training and warm-up matches. There are 2 squads, one for the 3-match T20 series and one for the 2 test matches, which follow immediately. 6 reserve players will travel with the test squad to prepare and ensure replacements are available in the case of injury, and along with the other members of the T20 squad will form an A team to play 2 4-day matches concurrently with the test team. This is the West Indies' second tour in 2020, the only international team to fulfill 2 away tours during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the talismanic German Blackwood was West Indies' best batsman on the tour to England in July, and he's looking to continue in the same manner on the tour to New Zealand. Speaking to Cricket West Indies media prior to departure on Tuesday, the Jamaican said he has enjoyed his return to the team.
It's good to be back, good to have a next tour to go and represent the whole region. Can't wait to get out on the park. And yeah, it feels very good. The other day came back after a 2-year period. I was out of the test team, and I came back and I contributed in the first game to win the first test for the team. So that was a good feeling. But unfortunately, we didn't win this series. But this time around, I want to contribute more to the team. So hopefully I can do that.
And your batting, how is it going? How much are you enjoying? I know you love cricket, you absolutely love the game, but how much are you enjoying the batting as well?
Yes, I did miss the challenge of playing test cricket. Just happy to be out there now and representing the region. Yeah, I'm batting for me right now. I'm just having fun, enjoy it, and once I can do that and scoring for the team, there's no doubt that we will win.
And what's your message to fans? They'll be supporting you, they'll be waking up late in the night and, cheering on. What's your message for them?
Well, just keep on supporting us. We want to win this one for you guys, and we'll certainly go out here and give our 100%.
IPL news now. Mumbai Indians moved clear of the others on the IPL points table, beating Royal Challengers Bangalore in a top-of-the-table clash on Wednesday in Abu Dhabi. The 4-time champions knocked off a target of 165 at the start of the final over, winning by 5 wickets. The chase was led by a superb half-century from Surya Kumar Yadav, who stroked 79 not out of 43 balls, inclusive of 10 fours and 3 sixes. Ishan Kishan chipped in with 25, as Mohammad Siraj and Yuzvendra Chahal claimed 2 wickets each. RCB seemed destined for a huge total after an opening stand of 7-1 in 8 overs, but they fell away at the back end. Opener Devdutt Padikkal top scored with 74 of 45. RCB's top batsmen Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers managed a combined 24 runs as Jasprit Bumrah picked up 3 for 14 and Trent Bolt, Rahul Chahar and Kieran Pollard had 1 each. With the win, Mumbai moved to 16 points, 2 clear of second place RCB after 12 matches apiece. Tomorrow it's Chennai Super Kings against Kolkata Knight Riders from 10 hours in Dubai. And finally, the FIFA President Gianni Infantino has tested positive for COVID-19, global football's governing body said on Tuesday. Infantino, who is 50 years old, has reported mild symptoms, is in self-isolation and will quarantine for at least 10 days, FIFA said in a statement. All who came into contact with the FIFA president during the last few days have been informed accordingly, and they are being requested to take the necessary steps, FIFA added. Infantino has traveled little during the coronavirus pandemic, but he attended a signing ceremony at the White House last month to mark normalized relations for Israel with the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. Infantino's infection comes as Switzerland reports a spike in COVID-19 cases. Switzerland has reported 127,000 cases this year, with more than 23,000 alone since last Friday. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.